I drop my kids off at nowhere in the morning on a school day. While you're doing the morning school run, I'm likely teaching my children to think for themselves. While many trust strangers with 8 hours of their kids' brain development, I'm working on building the next generation of independent thinkers. Homeschoolers score 25 points higher on tests, and according to research, it's working better than you think. But here's what nobody talks about. You've been convinced that outsourcing your child's education makes you a good parent. But what if that's backwards? I'm JC Nova. I'm an author, comic creator, entrepreneur, and yes, homeschooling father who refused to hand over my kid's mind to a system designed in the 1800s. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you why 83% of homeschooling parents actually cite school environment concerns as the reason, and how the data proves homeschoolers outperform traditional students. And also, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can actually start taking back educational control even if you don't homeschool your kids. Let me already guess what your objections are going to be. What about socialization? I've heard that a lot. How about, college prep? What about your work schedule, right? These are kind of valid, but I'm going to destroy every one of those myths using actual research. And I'm not going to talk about like parenting blog opinions and all that kind of random look at the pub kind of thing. Here's just one reason that really triggered my decision. I've watched many brilliant kids get labeled hyperactive because they finish work, faster than the class's regular pace. What's the general recommended solution? Medicate them or make them sit quietly while others try to catch up? It's happened to one of my kids. That's when I realized the system isn't broken. It's actually working exactly as designed to create compliant workers and not really independent thinkers. The actual numbers are about to mess with everything you've believed about education, and the reasons parents chose homeschooling will also surprise you. According to the National Home Education Research Institute, homeschool students score 15 to 25 percentile points higher on standardized tests than your regular public school students. That's not just a small difference, that's actually crushing it. Also, according to recent data, 78% of peer-reviewed studies show homeschoolers perform statistically significantly better academically than institutional, school students. Another research again, according to peer research, 83% of homeschooling parents cite the main reason for pushing for homeschooling as concern about the school environment. It's not religious extremism, not antisocial tendencies, just safety. So I want you to think about all that. The majority of homeschooling parents looked at schools and said, that environment is not safe for my child's development. Meanwhile, the rest of us just accept it, right? Here's more stats for you since we go with the numbers. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, there are now 3.7 million homeschooled students in the US. That's 6.73% of all school-age children. And we're not talking about fringe families. These are parents who have actually done the math and who are looking at the numbers. And while you're worried about socialization, again, 98% of homeschooled students participate in an average of 5 extracurricular activities per week. So they're not less social. It looks like they might be more social. What I'm about to tell you will flip how you think about parental responsibility and why outsourcing education might be outsourcing your values as well. Here's another brutal truth most parents don't want to face. When you send your kids to school, you're not just outsourcing education. For whatever reason, even if they're valid, you're also outsourcing influence. Your child will spend about 8 hours per day, 180 days a year, absorbing someone else's worldview, someone else's priorities, someone else's definition of success. So think about the math. That's 1,440 hours per year under institutional influence versus maybe 2 or 3 hours of intentional parenting conversation per day. It's crazy when you think about it, from that perspective. But here's what even broke my brain even further. According to research, the degree of state control and regulation of homeschooling has no correlation with academic achievement. None. So the bureaucracy doesn't improve outcomes for your child. It's actually parental involvement that improves a child's academic performance. So when you think about it, what are schools really optimizing for? It's really compliance over creativity. They're looking for ways to standardize over thinking about individual strengths. They're just not equipped for that. They're thinking about test scores over critical thinking. They're thinking about sitting still over problem solving. And it's not the fault of schools or teachers. In many cases, no one can love and teach a child like the parents. That's just the truth. But as parents, we've been convinced that professional educators automatically know what's best for our children better than we do. When did we become so insecure about our own ability to guide our kids' development? So whether you homeschool or not, there are 3 strategies that will help you reclaim educational influence over your children. And the third one works even if you keep them in traditional schools. So stay with me. The first strategy is focus on subject mastery. So instead of grade level thinking, focus on mastery. My 10-year-old doesn't do 5th grade math, Allow them work on whatever math concept that they're ready for, whether that's 3rd grade fractions or 7th grade algebra. Pick one subject your child struggles with and throw out great expectations and let them focus on foundational understanding. So for example, master addition before moving to multiplication, master multiplication, before moving to division. If they get the basics down, then they've attained real mastery and will excel. The second focus on connecting learning to the real world. Everything connects to real life. History connects to current events. Math connects to cooking, connects to budgeting. Science connects to how things actually work, right? So next time your child is asking, when will I use this? Don't just dismiss it. Show them, cook dinner together and use fractions, to divide like pits and stuff. Plan a family trip and use geography, use budgeting and put all that math and, addition, into play. The third strategy is super critical. Focus on inoculating or protecting your child against external values that do not align. Whether homeschooled or not, your kids will encounter ideas that conflict with your values. Instead of avoiding these ideas, discuss them at home first. Have family discussions about topics before the world teaches your kids about things like relationships and money and sex and work ethic and character, when you can control the narrative, not after peer pressure or social media has already shaped and formed your child's thinking. Look, most parents will keep outsourcing their most important job, which is raising thoughtful, capable, value-driven, happy, successful, wealthy kids. They outsource this to institutions that don't know the kids and don't even share their priorities and values. And these parents will keep telling themselves that experts know best while wondering why their teenagers don't talk to them anymore. But here's my question for you. If you're not intentionally shaping your child's education and values, then who is? Because somebody is. And this is happening every day for 8 hours, whether you're paying attention or not. You don't have to homeschool to take back educational control, but you have to stop pretending that caring about your child's intellectual and moral development is someone else's responsibility. I want you to drop a comment with one subject you could start teaching your child at home. And if you want more content about building independent thinkers in a dependent world, I want you to subscribe. So stay intentional, stay involved, stay dangerous. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.